Josh Olin here with just one more example of how WebGPT's auto-coding playgrounds are absolutely revolutionary and in terms of allowing your AI agents to just build you anything. In this example, it's the classic arcade game of Snake. So I'm going to walk you through the chat history here. So it starts off by just making out a plan and then writing all of the basic foundational code for this game. This is all happening in the background. You won't need to know any code, obviously, but it is indeed writing code for you. So going down, carrying on, the next step is it wants to go ahead and add in the touch controls in addition to the desktop movement, because I asked for that specifically in the original prompt. So it goes ahead and adds in my mobile support. And then the last step is it notices that, okay, well, it decided it wanted to add a score functionality. I didn't necessarily instruct that explicitly. And also that, of course, it needs to know then, it knows then that it needs to have game UI elements. So it goes ahead and adds those in as well. And it tells me I can go ahead and click here to play test my game. Now, when I load up the game, you'll notice that there's a huge problem here. The score text is way too enormous. So because we're actually working with the GPT-4 vision model, we can go ahead and take a screenshot of this entire play area. And this is the most impressive part. I can just paste in that screenshot and just tell it to look at the screenshot and to infer what the problem is and then what the solution should be. That's all I need to ask it. And it's able to just assess the problem itself without needing any additional explicit instruction. And as usual, it just gives me a convenient little link here to click and play test my game. Now, AI isn't perfect, okay? So as you can see, it did adjust the score properly. The scoreboard's smaller anyway, but it looks like it introduced some bugs where the food isn't respawning in random places, the screen keeps scrolling, and the score is not incrementing. Now remember, we don't write perfect code either, so I'm just going to describe the changes I'd like to the LLM like I would any engineer, and it's going to go ahead and make those fixes for me. Now, it goes ahead and it does write a bunch of different edits to make these adjustments. Now, I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead here in a second because it does go ahead and make another mistake. Again, AI is not perfect. We make mistakes too. It forgot to actually commit the change, and I noticed that, so I went ahead and told it, go ahead and commit the change, and then it did, and it gave me a link to play test the game. And again, AI is not perfect. There's a couple things going on here. One, the scoreboard is still way too big, and now it's just red in the bottom left-hand corner. After I start the game and hit a game over screen, then the scoreboard adjusts its size into a smaller font down in the bottom left corner. So again, I'm going to go ahead and send a couple screenshots now to give a good visual representation of what my description that I'm describing in text is. I'm trying to get the AI to have a more precise understanding of the scope of the issue so it can make a more clean edit this time around. And as you can see, it's being much more verbose in its articulation of its understanding of the problem, which makes me feel a lot more confident about this fix. Now, I want to point out a subtle different tactic the LLM has taken this time around. It kind of is aware that we've been going back and forth on this fix, and so it's decided to break apart the changes into two steps. First, it's decided to fix the scoreboard scaling issue, and then it's going to tackle the user input and the game over logic later. And it looks like it already has, in fact, fixed the scoreboard issue. So that's good. But it does beg the question, how is it going to do with those remaining two edits? And spoiler alert, remember, the theme is AI is not perfect, neither are we, so there's a runtime error now. So we're going to go ahead and take a screenshot of this, and we're going to, this time, do something a little bit different. We're going to ask it to enable Pro Mode, which for WebGPT actually gives the LLM access to a back-end sort of AI coding assistant that automatically does code review. So this is an extra premium feature that's built into this that gives it a lot more power and a lot more capability. Now, I can hear the snarky comments already, right? That, oh my God, it's still making this weird giant scoreboard error. AI must suck. What is the whole point of this thing? Well, I want to take a second to explain what's really happening here. And I want you to really take a step back and think about just how much time has actually been invested in this project so far. I could have edited out all of these bad parts and all of these mistakes and made just a video that made it look like it was like perfect from start to finish. But AI isn't perfect. AI is, and neither are we, by the way. We write buggy code all the time. And so the fact that I've only put in like maybe 10, 15 minutes into this project already, minus all the cuts and edits, truly is a testament to what this technology is capable of already. Now you're going to see here, it is going to in fact recover. We are going to get there. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And, I implore people to try to resist the urge to hold the AI to some absurd standard, absurd superhuman standard. Obviously, that is the vision. That's the promise. That's the promised land of the technology. But we're not there yet, and it's not going to be superhuman yet. So try your best not to expect the world out of this technology yet, and please really do appreciate the incremental value add of just how rapidly I'm iterating and prototyping a whole game that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to. And look at it, it's running perfectly now. The score is incrementing properly, the score size is the correct size, my snake is moving just fine, the food is spawning in a different area, the game over screen is displaying properly, and lets me click to restart. There's nothing wrong with it now. It made the perfect game. It just took a little bit of time.